Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, The Danish Readaholic. Today I'm going to be doing a Christmas song book tag. If I sound tired, that's because I am. I just woke up. I had to get myself a cup of tea to do that. I have this tea advent calendar, so every day I get a new tea from like my favorite brand. And then I felt like it was just necessary to put it in this gigantic cup. Alright, I'm gonna have the prompts on my phone. The tag was done by Stephanie over at Adventures of a Bibliophile, so I will link that down below. And then I think we should just get started. So the first one is You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, where I'm supposed to name a villainous character that I couldn't help but love. I kind of had a hard time picking this one because there's a lot of main characters that are kind of villainous or they do bad things, but with good intent, and then I don't think that completely qualifies as villainous. For example, what's her name? Selena from Throne of Glass. I feel like she is not necessarily villainous, but you know, I think you get the gist. So let me just show you that I picked Wrath because I do think that he is villainous. He hasn't shown like his kind side that I believe he has, that we're probably gonna get to see eventually. So I'm gonna go for Wrath for this because, as you probably all know by now, I absolutely love him. I don't think I have that much more to say. I think he is a villainous character. He is a demon prince, so I guess that qualifies as villainous, but I don't know, you'll be the judge of that, I guess. Next up, I have All I Want for Christmas Is You, which is like my least favorite Christmas song, but that's another talk. Which is, which book do you hope to see under the Christmas tree? And basically any book. Any book. Well, obviously there are some books that I'm not going to read, like any contemporary. I think I would prefer that not be under the tree. But I do make like Christmas lists, and especially my boyfriend, he has an entire list of books that I want. Also, that makes it easier for me to not break my book buying ban because he has a list of books that I am not allowed to buy myself. Then I have a separate list for books that I can buy when I go on my like book buying spree. When I win, if I win, I send list outs with all the books that I want. So I'm pretty sure that I won't be surprised with a contemporary, but who knows? I'm just not feeling it. But the book that I'm like most, hoping to get is, well, it's not necessarily a one book, it's a box set. And that is the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. And that's because I really want to read that before I read, what's it called? Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm not sure you have to, but I know that it takes place in the same land. And I know how much more I love Tales of Magic, having read Land of Stories, because there were all these kind of Easter eggs and all these characters that I knew and loved. So I feel like I just want to read Caraval before reading Once Upon a Broken Heart. And obviously I want to read it soon because I want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart like yesterday. That is probably the book that I would most like to see under the Christmas tree, but next up we have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and that is to name a character that overcomes a major obstacle and learns to believe in themselves. Let me put my tea down. I had to go for Renata for this. She's so damn strong, and she definitely learns to believe in herself and also overcome the obstacles that are her powers. Like, she's so afraid of hurting people, and that just makes her afraid of her powers and afraid of herself and her own capabilities. It is just such a great read. I love it, and I love her, and she is just, spot on. So I think that for this, like, the only person, or at least the first person that I thought about was definitely Renata. Next up we have Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and there's two parts of this question, but I'm just gonna answer it together. We have part A, which is which character do you think would be on the naughty list, and then part B, which character do you think would be on the nice list. And I had such a hard time with this. Like, I feel like the nice one was easier than the naughty one, because the naughty one to me, it's more like, oh, you're so mischievous, or you're so, prankster or something like that. Not necessarily, murdering people. I don't think you would be on any list if you did that. So I had a hard time picking this. So I actually moved away from all my YA and moved into my middle grade because I felt like that was where I was gonna find the answer. And I decided to go for Alex and Connor. Alex on the nice list, Connor on the naughty list. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I think I've said what I wanted with regards to they don't really go around murdering people, but Connor is definitely more of a prankster and more mischievous. So I feel like that would land someone a spot on the naughty list. And Alex is just, the epiphany of good. So next up we have Frosty the Snowman, and that is which book melts your heart. I didn't know what to pick, but I ended up going with Tale of Magic, also by Chris Colfer, because if any book melted my heart, then it would be this one. I cried like 10 times, and I feel like I say that every single time that I talk about this book, but it is what it is. I really, really like this book, and there were so many, as I said before, references to Land of Stories that just made it so much more important to me. I just love it. Such a great story, such a great world, and, such a great author, so... Next up we have Feliz Navidad, which is to choose a book that is set in another land or another country than yours. Everything I read is basically fantasy, and fantasy are usually set in made-up countries or lands. So I could have picked anything basically, but I felt like it was kind of cheating to pick a land that doesn't exist. So I ended up actually going for The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, which I did read. I read it for school, like a self-chosen book to read, and I regret it now because I didn't like it. Well, I liked the story, but all of the descriptions of the places I could have done without. But obviously this takes place in Paris, France. I have never been to Paris and I don't live there, but I want to go, obviously, because, I want to see Notre Dame. Hunchback of Notre Dame is actually my favorite Disney movie, and that was why I read this, because I did, for like an English assignment, I compared the Disney script to this one to see what the differences were and how Disney like romanticized it, even though it was one of Disney's like darker movies. So that was actually very interesting. But yeah, this is, as I said, set in France, and I don't live in France. I live in Denmark. Okay, it's the most wonderful time of year. I definitely agree. Which holiday themed book do you use to spread the Christmas joy? I have never read a holiday-themed book. Well, that's a lie. Well, not really. I haven't read it, but when I was younger, my mom used to read me this Danish Christmas calendar book called Mig og Bedstefar og så Nissepok. I think that was what it was called. That was like my favorite part about, the Christmas time, like the days in December, because every day we would read a chapter about this elf called Nissepok, and I think that might be the book that I'm picking. I'm not a seasonal reader, so I don't read thrillers around Halloween, and I don't read contemporaries during the summer. I read whatever I want whenever I want, so I don't really read that many seasonal reads. Next up we have Sleigh Ride, and the prompt for that is which fictional character would you choose to spend the holidays with? Again, I had to go for Alex and Connor. I feel like it would be such a great time, and I didn't want to pick like a YA character because I feel like they're always, kind of serious, and it is the very, like, a select few that would be able to have fun, because there's always something going on and something bad coming to happen. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Alex and Connor. Next up we have Baby It's Cold Outside, and the prompt for that is which book would you sacrifice to the fire to keep yourself warm? I don't have it anymore, but it would be Smertensbarn, and I don't remember the author, but I think I've ranted enough about that book, so I'm just gonna leave it. If it had to be a book that I own right now, it would be Truth Witch, but then again, I don't dislike it enough to sacrifice it to the fire. Like, I think I dislike it enough to give it away, but I wouldn't burn it. So I'm gonna go for Smertensbarn, even though I don't have it. And the final question is, do you hear what I hear? And that is a book that everyone should read. I was debating like how to go about this question, because like where I found the tag, they had chosen The Hate You Give, which is, you know, a very important book and kind of impactful. At first, when I read the question, I just wanted to pick one of my favorite books and be like, this one I think everyone should read. But that would be more because I think it's good and not because it has like anything really impactful to say. So instead, I decided to pick Monster. Well, that's not what it's called. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I think that this has like very important topics, especially about grief. I think that this is very, very important, and I think that there's a lot to learn from this. And that is why I picked this as a book that I think everyone should read. That was it for this tag. I am only going to tag one because I feel like a bunch of the people that I've tagged, I've kind of also overwhelmed with tags lately. So I'm only gonna tag Gem from Bookish Gems, and I'm hoping that she's gonna do this in Christmas. Otherwise, you can keep the tag for like next year. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment with your favorite like Christmas read, and also if you have any recommendations that aren't A Christmas Carol or like any of the usual Christmas books. I can't think of any other than The Christmas Carol, but please give me recommendations for something that you think I might like, because I actually do kind of want to try and read like Christmas stories during Christmas. If you like this video, please hit the like icon, and if you want to see more of my bookish content, then please hit subscribe. It will mean the world to me. And until I see you next time, bye!